Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kaylee and these are my books. So for today's video, I have a recommendation video, and these are going to be recommendations for either mystery, thriller, or horror books that I think you should read during this summer. So these are books with summer vibes, whether that's through setting or through themes. I am filming this on 4th of July, so there might be some firework noise in the background. I'm hoping it doesn't pick up too many fireworks. But you also might see this guy with me in the videos because he's a little bit nervous, so he's gonna sit with me in this video. The first book I have to recommend that I think would be perfect to read this summer is The Troop by Nick Cutter. The Troop is a horror novel about a group of Boy Scouts and their Scoutmaster that go into the wilderness to do a camping excursion, but everything begins to go wrong when a man turns up uninvited to their camping trip, and he seems to have this insatiable hunger. This illness becomes contagious, and their fun camping trip becomes a fight for survival. This book is incredibly gruesome, lots of body horror, and it's probably the most disturbing book I've ever read, so just be warned going into this. However, it has fantastic summer vibes. It's about a camping trip, it's about a group of boys on this island-esque setting. There's an ocean part to the novel, there's just wilderness survival parts to the novel. At its heart, this is a novel about a group of boys camping on a little vacation, and thus it makes the perfect summer read. I gave this book 4 stars as I found it incredibly fast-paced, very engaging. However, it did err a little bit too much on the gross horror side, and I would have liked a little bit more psychological horror in there. However, if you are a fan of body horror, this is definitely the book for you. The next book I have to recommend is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Hopefully you can see this book over little Teddy's head. But this book, I'm sure many, if not all of you, are familiar with this story. An amusement park full of dinosaurs, people go and visit it, stuff goes terribly wrong. So this book, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I know almost everyone has seen the movie, but the book is fantastic. The book is incredibly thrilling, incredibly fast-paced, and it just leaves you with this feeling of tension throughout all of it. I gave it 5 stars. It was a very quick read. The characters are the only part of the book that I think the movie does a little bit better, especially the young girl in the novel. She is so annoying in this book, so annoying. However, this book has tons of summer vibes. It's all about a vacation. It's set on an island in an amusement park. There are people on vacation in this story because it has some children there that are just there to visit the amusement park. So, perfect summer vibes. It is a great read to pick up during the warm months. And I gave Jurassic Park 5 stars. The next book I have to recommend is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. This novel follows a scientist named Victoria who is on an excursion into the Mariana Trench in a submarine-esque vehicle. And she is there, of course, to complete some scientific research. However, she has an ulterior motive, because 7 years ago, there was a different excursion into the Mariana Trench, and on this excursion, her sister disappeared. There is some footage that was found in this excursion where her sister went missing. However, it shows sea monsters attacking everyone on board, and therefore lots of people think this is a hoax. So Victoria, our scientist in the present timeline, goes on this excursion to uncover the truths of what happened to her sister. I gave this novel 5 stars. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is a horror book, so things get pretty dark in this book. However, it is so engaging, and by the end of it, I felt like I was watching a movie while I was reading the book. I remember listening to the audiobook, sitting outside my apartment, watching the sunset, and just being like, wow, life is amazing. This book is so intense, and I'm so into it. So I highly recommend this book, and it does have lots of summer vibes because it's all about the ocean and sea creatures, and there is some scientific research in there that makes it feel a little bit like a documentary as well. So highly recommend you picking up this book. The next book I have to recommend is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. In this story, we follow Abby and Gretchen, who have been best friends their entire lives. However, in high school, one summer, Gretchen starts acting really weirdly, and Abby naturally deduces that Gretchen is possessed by a demon. However, Abby figuring this out does not mean that Gretchen is saved, because this demon will do anything it takes to keep Gretchen's body. I gave this book 5 stars, and it is my favorite Grady Hendrix book. This book features a lot of horror scenes as it is a horror novel. However, it is so much more than just a horror book, because this features friendship, complicated friendship, and the power of friendship, which I know sounds cheesy, but it's done in a very wholesome way. In fact, by the end of this book, I was actually crying, and I never cry at horror books. So that was an impressive feat for this book. This book has lots of summer vibes in my opinion, although it isn't explicitly set during the summer. It is set during the school year with some summer scenes in it, but it has lots of 80s nostalgia throughout this book. It is set in the 80s. There's lots of music, there's lots of focus on friendship along with the horror scenes in here. It just reads like a horror comedy, a little bit lighter horror, and therefore to me it feels like the perfect horror for summertime. The next book I have to recommend is Every Value Break by Peter Swanson. Now, I know this book has a lot of mixed reviews, and by mixed reviews I mean a lot of people hated this book. However, I gave it 4 stars. This is a thriller that definitely leans on the side of ridiculous thriller. You know, just one of those thrillers that goes way over the top, isn't super believable, but is a very fun time to read. And I rate my books based off of enjoyment, and I had a lot of fun reading this book. Every Value Break follows Abigail and Bruce on their honeymoon, and they go to an island getaway where it's very exclusive, very fancy. However, Abigail does notice that she only really sees one other female vacationer on this island. Everyone else seems to be a man. Abigail is further put on edge where the man she cheated on her husband with during a drunken night out for her bachelorette party turns up to this exclusive island getaway. Once the only other female traveler also seems to go missing and no one really cares, Abigail's dream vacation turns into a nightmare. This book is very fun to read during the summer because it's set on an island, it follows a couple on a vacation, and it leans hard into the vacation aspect of this novel. We see lots of touristy things along with a pool bar and people swimming, people getting massages. It's a very fun vacation island summer book that you should pick up. I ended up rating this novel 4 stars because I had a lot of fun, although I do recognize that it's objectively not the most well-written novel. The next novel I have to recommend is He Started It by Samantha Downing. This novel is a road trip novel following a family going on a road trip together, mirroring a road trip they went on as children with their grandfather. They have to go on this road trip as adults because their grandfather has made it a stipulation in his will, and the only way for them to claim their inheritance is to complete the road trip. However, tensions are high on this family road trip, and when buried memories begin to surface along with a mysterious car that seems to be following them, this road trip might not be worth it for their inheritance. In fact, collecting their inheritance might be the least of their worries. This novel is a perfect summer read because it follows a summer vacation that this family goes on, a road trip, and in fact they are forced to stop at many a touristy destination that they stopped at while they were children. I gave He Started It by Samantha Downing 4 stars. The next book I have to recommend is Jane Harper's The Survivors. This is a incredibly atmospheric thriller that follows our main character Kieran, who comes back to visit his family in a small coastal town. Now, Kieran does not like being back in his hometown because it brings up painful memories of when his brother went missing when they were children. Kieran being back here with his wife and new baby becomes incredibly complicated when a young girl once again goes missing, very similar to Kieran's brother going missing when they were children. This is a slow-paced thriller that really leans into its atmospheric, coastal, small-town vibes. And for that reason, I think it's a perfect summer thriller. Because although this book doesn't lean into the summer aspect of the coastal town, it will make you feel like you are going on a vacation. This book features tourists, it features sunken boats, it features scary caves along the beach. This is one touristy beach town. You might be happy that you're only visiting it in a book. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. However, it is a bit slower paced than most other thrillers. The next book I have to recommend is Hunted by Darcy Coates. This is a novel that begins with a young woman going missing hiking in the woods. A group of her friends, along with a creepy guy, along with the female, disgruntled, slightly jaded police officer, all begin searches for her in the woods. However, her disappearance might be supernatural because there seems to be monsters, much like Bigfoot, hunting in these woods. This book has lots of summer vibes because it has hiking and camping, and the group of friends very much have similar vibes to a group of friends just on vacation. However, they happen to be looking for their missing friend. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it, although the ending left me a bit unsatisfied. The next book I have to recommend is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is a novel that follows Emma, who, when she was a child, went to a summer camp and her 3 cabin mates went missing. The summer camp reopens when Emma is an adult and she gets invited back to be a camp counselor. Emma accepts this invitation because she wants to get some closure. However, she finds the opposite of closure. Clues begin to arise. She's on the trail of some insidious plot that may very well threaten the current day campers. This novel is a perfect summer read because it takes place entirely in a summer camp with the past point of views and the future point of views following the same woman, but as she is a camper and then as she is a counselor. It leans hard into its summer camp setting, and there are many summer camp activities such as canoeing, campfires, and even hiking. I gave this book 5 stars. It was a fast-paced thriller that surprised me with its end twists. The next book I have to recommend is The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. Now, this is part of the Truly Devious series. However, it's a new mystery, so it kind of works as a standalone. You can approach it without reading the Truly Devious series. However, you would be missing quite a bit from these characters' backgrounds. This novel follows Stevie and her friends, and they are invited to a summer camp to try to solve a cold case mystery. In 1978, at this summer camp, 4 camp counselors were gruesomely murdered, and the murderer was never found. When Stevie begins to investigate the murders in present day, the town seems to be hiding quite a few secrets. In fact, Stevie might be threatened by the very same murderer. This book has many summer vibes as it also takes place in a summer camp, much like Riley Sager's The Last Time I Lied, and it leans hard into that summer camp setting as well. However, there also is a small town setting set around a lake that the summer camp borders, so therefore we get both the summer camp, the small town, and the lake setting in this novel. A perfect read for summer, and I gave this book 5 stars. The next book is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. This is actually the book that inspired this video. I read this recently and loved it. It had so many summery vibes, so I decided to make a whole video of thrillers with summery vibes. So this is a thriller that follows a boyfriend and a girlfriend who have a boat and are hired to take 2 young women to a remote island a couple days sail away from Hawaii. There at this remote island, they meet other people who all have their own boats as well and have also decided to sail to this remote island to get away from the crowds. However, this island has a very spooky history, full of killings and cannibalism and stranded sailors. The people who have all docked at this island have their own secrets, and as these secrets come to light, it clashes with the island's history, and people may wind up dead. This book has an island setting, it has people living in boats for the summer, it has rich people's boats and not as nice of boats, but still pretty cool boats. It has ocean settings, it has vacation vibes with everyone just relaxing on the beach all day. This is a perfect summer read, and I gave this book 5 stars. The last book I have to recommend is Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay. This is a book that follows a young boy going missing in the summer and his family and the police trying to find him but really not finding any leads to follow. Things start to get mysterious as some seemingly paranormal factors come into play, with the rock that the boy was last seen at having a local legend stating that this rock is cursed. Along with this curse, the mother seems to be haunted by a ghostly apparition of her missing son. This novel is heavily inspired by a Joyce Carol Oates short story, and it combines literary fiction with horror. This book has many summer vibes, as it is not only set in the summer, but it also has hiking and camping and just groups of boys out having fun during their summer. I thought this book was really unique and unpredictable and ended up giving it 5 stars. Those are all the books I have for you. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of them or if you have any other summery thrillers or horrors that you would recommend. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!